Hello, welcome to TLMS Academy. My name is Adeboye. So we shall continue solving quadratic equations, and this time around we are using the graphical method. Now, in some of our videos, we've used factorization, complete the square, and formula method. So you can check our the channel to see examples of that. Now, we want to use graphical method to solve quadratic equations. Now, let's consider this question, which says that we should solve the equations x squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to 0 graphically. Alright, so the first thing is to replace 0 with y. It's to give us the two dimensions, which is x and y. Okay, so we're going to consider it in two dimensions like this. Now the next step is make a table to find the values of y while we vary the values of x from a negative value, e.g. -2, to a positive value of +5. Okay. Now there are questions where you'd be given the range of values of x to use. For example, it could be -2 to 5, it could be 0 to 3, and so on and so forth. But if you're not given, you are free to pick a range of value that spans from a negative to a positive number. So how then do we work on this? So look at the exact equation. The equation we're given is x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals y. Now, we are going to arrange that. We're going to arrange it such that the x squared, which comes first, will be put here. Then the next thing is negative 2x according to what we're given in the equation. Here it is. And then negative 3. And here it is. And finally, you place your y on the last row. Okay? Now, after that has been done, the next step says that on the second row, square each value of x. Okay? Now, let's go to the table. Here you have x squared. So you consider that this is your x. X squared is -2 multiplied by -2. And so you have +4. Alright? And then here you have +1. Now we're going to see more on that shortly. And then on the third row, where the term is -2x, replace the x with -2, the -1, and so on. And then C says that on the fourth row, where the term is -3, write -3 all through the row. And then step 4 says that sum all the values on each column to get the value of y. Now I want us to look at the table right here and see how it is done. So we're saying that we have our values of x ranging from -1 to +5. Now when x is -2, what exactly is x squared? That is -2 multiplied by -2, and that will give +4. That is why you have +4 over here. Okay, consider this. When you have 3 squared, that is 9. That's why you have 9 over there. Now, let's look at the third row where we have -2x. Now, if our x is -2, okay, that will be 2 multiplied by -2, and that's how we get 4. You can consider, let's consider this when our x is 1, that will be -2 multiplied by 1, and here we have -2. So that is how you fill the third row. For the fourth row, the -3 is going to be written all across the row. Nothing will change. Now the next thing is we are going to just add all this. Now forget about what we have here. Forget about any sign that you might have here. All you need to do is just sum. So for the one that I circled there, 4 plus 4, that's 8. 8 minus 5, 8 minus 3, that gives 5. So that's how you have 5 here. Here you have 1 plus 2, that's 3. 3 minus 3, that's 0. Here you have 0 plus 0, and then minus 3, as I have minus 3. 1 minus 2, that is minus 1, minus 1 minus 3, which is minus 4. Here you have 4 minus 4 is 0, 0 minus 3, that's negative 3. So that is what you do in order to get the values of y. Now let's look at the next thing. It says that we should match the value of x with y from the table, and then we put a point to it. So what that means is that when x is negative 2, y is 5. When x is negative 1, y is 0. When x is 0, y is negative 3. So meaning that, for instance, you have a graph like this where you have your numbering. Now we're going to see that shortly. So let's just go to the next step. So here is an example of a graph. Okay, here's an example of a graph, and in this graph we are going to consider how this is done. So when x is negative 2, y equals to 5. So we're going to locate negative 2 on the x-axis and 5 on the y-axis. So here is the x-axis, here is the x-axis, and here we have the y-axis. Now here is negative 2 on the x-axis, and then here is 5 on the positive y-axis. You trace it up and you trace it to the left. So it meets at this particular point here. So this is the point where negative 2 and positive 5 meets. That's where it meets on the table. So you put a mark there, or you can just put a dot, or you circle it. Just a small circle there. Okay, the next one is when x is negative 1, y is 0. Okay, so negative 1 and 0. We consider here you have negative 1 on the x-axis, and then you have 0. So you just need to place your point here as negative 1 and 0. The next one is when x is 3. So on and on like that, you would match your x with your y-axis, and then you put a point there. Okay, so let's see what comes next. So trace or join the point with a curved material like a French curve, or using your free hand. Well, it's preferable to use a French curve because you're going to have something more reliable, something neater. Okay, so here is what it is going to look like. All right, so here is what it's going to look like. Here you have your this is 0, this is negative 1, this is negative 2. All right, here you have 0, you have 1 in between here, you have 2 here, you have 3, you have 4, and so on and so forth. So we connect the dots which you have, and then you join the dots together to form this particular curve. So you've successfully plotted the curve. The next thing is note the point where the curve cuts the x-axis and label as point A and B. In this case, the value at A is 3, while the value at B is negative 1. So take a look at this. This is our point A. Now take note of where that graph cuts the x-axis. In this case, here you have 3. Okay, there you have 3, and then there you have negative 1. Now I'm pleased to inform you that you've successfully gotten the roots of that quadratic equation using graphical method. So that is x equals to 3 or negative 1. So that is the answer. So I hope this video was actually helpful to you. I believe you are watching this tutorial because you want to know more about how you solve quadratic equations using graphical method, or we have other methods that you can use. So the fastest way by which you can learn is to enroll in our online course. Now, we have videos, we have explanations that have been specially made, step by step, to ensure that you easily assimilate this particular topic. Now, at the end of every topic, we also have quizzes that would help you to assess your progress or your understanding. Please, there's a link in the description below of this particular video. Click on it and then it will take you to where you can um, enroll for our online course. We also love you to subscribe to our channel and click the notification icon so that when we drop more videos, you will easily be notified. Bye for now.